Stop thinking about your logo. Seriously, stop obsessing over website colors. Most founders waste thousands of dollars on branding that does absolutely nothing to bring in a single customer. Before you spend a single dollar, I'm going to give you a 3-question test that will guarantee you focus on what people actually pay for, not just what looks nice. I know this because I've been that founder. I've burned the midnight oil, pixel perfecting a logo that no one cared about. I've spent weeks and thousands of dollars I didn't have on a beautiful, sleek, minimalist website that felt like a digital ghost town. There was no traffic, no leads, no sales, just the quiet hum of my own ego admiring a pretty thing I'd built. I told myself I was building a brand. I told myself this was real progress. But the brutal truth hit me when I realized my bank account was screaming at me. I wasn't building a business, I was building a digital art project. An art project that didn't pay the bills. And this was a painful but very necessary turning point for me. It forced me to understand a fundamental law of business. Aesthetics always comes second to value. No one buys a logo. They buy a solution. They buy a feeling and a result and an experience. Your brand isn't your color palette. It's the promise you make and keep with your customers. The moment I shifted my focus from what my business looks like to what it actually does for my customers, everything changed. The moment my clients made the same shift, their results exploded too. So today, I'm not just giving you a framework, I'm saving you from one of the most common and costly mistakes that kills startups. We're going to cover why pretty has never saved a bad business, and how to tell the difference between a vanity upgrade and a value upgrade. And most importantly, I'll walk you through my 3-question value first test that will become your new compass, making sure that every dollar and hour you spend is dedicated to building something people are actually eager to pay for. So why do so many of us fall into this trap? Why do smart, driven founders spend months agonizing over the perfect shade of blue while their offer is totally untested? Simply, it's a dangerous psychological comfort zone we have. Because designing something feels like we're making progress, and it's tangible. You can see the changes that were made. You get a little dopamine hit every time you tweak the kerning on fonts or find a new beautiful stock photo, and it just feels productive because you're creating something. But this is what I call fake progress, because you're busy, but you're not effective. You're building, but you're not progressing. You're creating assets for a business that doesn't even have a heartbeat yet. The real work of a founder, especially early on, is messy. And it's uncomfortable. It's getting on the phone with potential customers. It's putting a clunky, imperfect version of your offer out there to see if anyone bites. It's hearing no, or even worse, hearing nothing at all. It's facing the terrifying possibility that the idea you love isn't actually wanted by the market. Compared to that, hiding behind Adobe Illustrator is warm. It's a safe little blanket for yourself. Tweaking your website is a controllable task in a world of uncontrollable variables. It's a form of sophisticated procrastination. We convince ourselves that we're getting the foundation right before we launch, when really we're just building a beautiful house on a foundation of assumptions. So let me put this in simple terms. Think of your business as a car. You're the founder. You're the chief engineer. Your job is to build an engine that works, and a powerful, reliable engine that gets someone from point A, where they are now, to point B, where your solution takes them. That engine is your value proposition. So now where does branding fit in? The branding, the logo, colors, and websites, that's basically the paint job. It's the shiny rims and the leather interior. The mistake 90% of founders make is they spend all their time and money on the paint job. They spend all their time and money on the paint job before they've even put the engine in the car. They roll out this gorgeous, shiny car shell and are shocked when nobody wants to buy it. Of course no one wants to buy it. It looks incredible, but it doesn't go anywhere, right? Customers aren't stupid. They're not gonna buy a car that doesn't run, no matter how beautiful it is. A great business earns a great brand. A great brand does not create a great business. The Nike swoosh is one of the most iconic logos in the world, but it became iconic after Nike proved its product's value. In the beginning, it wasn't the swoosh that sold shoes. It was the innovation of the waffle sole, new technology giving runners better traction. The value came first. The substance created the symbol. The logo didn't make Nike. Nike made the logo. Today, a lot of businesses have it backwards, thinking that we just need to get the branding right and customers will magically appear and trust us. But the truth is, trust isn't built by a professional looking logo. It's built by delivering on the promise. The branding is just the visual container for the trust once it has already been earned. So how do we escape this trap? How do we force ourselves to build the engine before we worry about the paint job? This is where the value first test comes in. It's 3 simple, brutally honest questions you have to ask yourself before spending $1 or an hour on branding. And this isn't about neglecting design forever. It's about earning the right to focus on it. Think of this as your pre-flight checklist to make sure the engine actually works. If you can answer yes to all 3 of these questions, then you have a business. And only then should you invest in making it beautiful. If you can't, you don't have a branding problem, you have a value problem. And no amount of design work is going to fix a value problem. So here's the first and most fundamental question. Can you explain what you sell in a single sentence without mentioning your logo, your colors, or your branding? This is the clarity question, and it's designed to be a filter for bullshit. It forces you to stop describing what you are and articulating what you do for someone else. Founders who are trapped in the aesthetic mindset almost always fail this first question. Their answers usually sound something like, we're a modern, eco-conscious lifestyle brand with a minimalist aesthetic. Or, we've created a premium, intuitive mobile application for wellness. Do you see the problem? These sentences are all about the company and the look the company has. They describe the packaging, not the gift inside. Words like beautifully designed, or premium, or minimalist are all attempts to use the paint job to sell the car. They tell me nothing about the engine. So now let's look at a good answer. A founder focused on value is going to say something like, we help freelance designers get paid on time without having to chase invoices. We deliver non-toxic, kid-safe cleaning supplies to your door so your family is never exposed to harmful chemicals. Or maybe something like, our app guides you through a 10-minute meditation each morning so you can start your day with less anxiety. Do you see the difference in the 2 sets of answers? The second set of sentences are laser focused on the customer's problem and the specific outcome. They are so clear you could write them on a napkin with a crayon and they'd still be compelling. The value is inherent in the words themselves. I'd once worked with a founder who built a stunning project management software. The interface was gorgeous. The animations were smooth. It was overall a work of art. He'd spent close to $50,000 working on it. And I asked him what it did. He said, we offer a seamless and elegant project management experience for modern teams. And that really meant nothing. We spent a couple hours diving into what his software actually did better than everyone else. And it turned out its one killer feature was automatically generating daily reports for stakeholders, so managers didn't have to spend hours each day writing updates. So we changed his pitch. We went from a seamless project management experience to we eliminate the need for managers to write daily status reports, saving them a minimum of an hour every single day. Suddenly, it was clear. The value was tangible and specific. He put that single sentence on a bare bones landing page with a simple sign-up form, no logo, and we set up a very simple funnel. And within a week, he had more signups for his beta than he'd had in the previous 6 months with his beautiful, expensive, and completely vague website. So your first task is to pass this test. Obsess over this one sentence until it's so powerful you could give it to a 5-year-old. They could read it off a napkin and understand the value you provide. So once your value proposition is crystal clear, it's time for the second and perhaps the most terrifying question. I call this the stranger test, and it'll be obvious why in a second. The question is, if you presented your offer to a complete stranger in your ideal customer profile, would they be willing to pay for it today? The question is a direct assault on the founder's favorite form of procrastination. When they say, I'll launch it when it's perfect. It's about validation from the only people whose opinions truly matter, paying customers. The stranger test forces you out of your comfortable office and into the real world. It's not about asking, do you think this is a good idea? Because when you ask something like that, people are polite. They'll almost always say yes. It's about asking, will you give me money for this right now? That's a question that only has a yes or no answer. No room for polite ambiguity. So let me tell you about a local coffee shop I advised. The owners were absolutely brilliant people, but they were stuck. They spent months debating the menu font and obsessing over the perfect vibe on Instagram. The problem? Sales were flat. Their Instagram was a gallery of pretty pictures and inspirational quotes, but it wasn't a sales channel yet. So I challenged them to this stranger test. We veered away from aesthetics and focused on a testable offer. Their value wasn't a beautiful place to hang out. It was a unique, high-quality coffee you can't get anywhere else. So we created a direct offer. We made a new special edition coffee. It was a smoked maple and rosemary latte. We didn't do any sort of fancy photo shoot. We just took a simple photo on an iPhone. Caption wasn't some poetic phrase. It was introducing the smoked maple and rosemary latte, made with house smoked syrup. Available this week for only $6. Come and get yours. This was the test. Would strangers seeing that simple post come in and pay for it? The answer was a resounding yes. They sold out in 2 days. The answer was a resounding yes. They beat their sales goal in 2 days. People came in saying, I saw that post and I had to try it. And customers came in saying, I saw your post and I had to try it. For the first time, their social media was directly linked to revenue. So the data from that ugly post was more valuable than a year of debates and motivational quotes that they just randomly posted on their Instagram. It proved people responded to unique, limited time offers. Only after we proved what their customers valued did we go back and refine the aesthetic. The branding was poured on top of an already working business model, not used as a crutch to prop up a failing one. All right, so now you've clarified your value. You've validated that a stranger will pay for it. And now for the final question, which gets to the heart of what builds a sustainable business. I call it the loyalty litmus test. And the question is pretty simple. If you stripped away all your fancy branding and presented your product with an ugly, outdated design, would your existing loyal customers still buy your product? This is a thought experiment that measures the true intrinsic value of what you provide. Is your product so good and so essential that your customers would tolerate a terrible user interface or an ugly logo just to keep using it? Is the engine that you put in this car so powerful that your customers would buy it even if it was completely rusted out? If the answer is yes, you've created something truly remarkable. Your customers are loyal to the value, not the wrapper. Think about the early days of Amazon. And I know a lot of people who are probably watching this aren't even old enough to remember that time, but the website was a cluttered, ugly mess. It had 3 things that no one else had at scale: a massive selection, low prices, and the convenience of home delivery. The value was so immense at the time that people overlooked the terrible design. The engine had selection price, convenience, and it was revolutionary. The ugly paint job did not matter. Or consider Craigslist. To this day, it looks like it hasn't been updated since 1998. It's the antithesis of modern web design, yet millions use it every single day. Why? Because it delivers its true core value, connecting local buyers and sellers completely free. The utility is so high that the aesthetic became irrelevant. This is the ultimate goal: to create something so valuable that the branding becomes secondary. This doesn't mean that you should have an ugly product forever. Passing this test just goes to prove that your business isn't fragile. It's not just a house of cards that you built and it's held together by a pretty design. You want to prove that your business is a fortress built on a strong foundation of customer value. I always think of a luxury leather goods company based out of Italy. It's called Manufactus. Their packaging is a beautiful part of their experience, and it's why I'm a repeat buyer. But nobody buys the box. They buy the handcrafted journal inside. The beautiful packaging and delivery helps turn a first-time buyer into a loyal fan. But if the journals themselves were poorly made, the box wouldn't even matter. The substance of the product is what creates loyalty. So we've gone through the 3 questions: the clarity question, the stranger test, and the loyalty litmus test. So let's recap. Clarity. Can you explain your value in 1 sentence? Validation. Will a stranger pay for it today? And substance. Would your loyal customers still buy it if it were ugly? If you honestly work through these questions, you'll have a business that's built on pure value, and you'll have an engine that works. And now, and only now, do we get to talk about the paint job. Because let's face it, branding isn't useless. Far from it. Once you have a powerful engine, branding becomes an amplifier. Think of branding like your business's microphone. If your business has nothing to say, a microphone doesn't help you get any sort of word out. This is what happens when a business with a poor offer invests in branding. They end up just shouting their mediocrity to a crowd. You have something powerful to say, a clear, validated, substantial message. That same microphone then becomes a tool of immense power. It takes your strong message and broadcasts it to the world. That is the proper role of branding. It takes the value you've painstakingly created and makes it memorable. It turns customers into fans and fans into evangelists. This is also where we distinguish between vanity upgrades and value upgrades. A vanity upgrade is changing your logo just because you're bored with it. A value upgrade would be talking to 5 customers and finding a new feature that would save them even more time than you were already saving them. So before you start any new task, ask yourself, is this for my business's vanity or is this for my business's value? Is this about painting the car or tuning the engine? In the early days of your business, 99% of your time should be spent on value upgrades. Once the engine is roaring, you can and should invest in a world-class paint job for that car, because at that point, you've earned it. Navigating this path is the single hardest part of being a founder. To help, I've created a free 1-page brand-focused checklist. It has these 3 questions and some bonus prompts to help you dig a little bit deeper into the value and avoid the pretty trap and avoid the aesthetics trap. You can find it for free using the link in the description. It's the same checklist I use with my clients to ensure that they're building businesses and not just digital art projects. And if you're a founder who has a validated high-value offer, but you're still struggling to figure out how you can amplify it, there's also a link where you can apply for a one-on-one strategy session with me personally. So here's the brutal truth. No one cares about your logo. People don't buy based on aesthetics alone. They buy solutions. Your job as a founder is not to be an artist. It's to be an engineer of value. Build the engine before you even think about the paint job. Use these 3 questions as your guide. First, achieve absolute clarity on the problem you solve. Second, seek ruthless validation that strangers will pay for it. And third, build so much substance into your offer that it would succeed even if it were ugly. If you do this, you won't just save yourself thousands of dollars and months of wasted time on branding. You'll build a resilient, profitable business that customers absolutely love and adore. You'll stop building a digital art project and you'll start building an empire. Now go build that engine.